Anyway, thank you so much to those who have joined tonight. This is our first of quite a few student information sessions to promote our January Study Abroad program. We will go through the session and I'll talk about each of our program destinations that we have. And then at the end, I'll hand it over to Emily for a little bit, who is one of our student alumni from January this year. And she's going to give you a bit of an insight about her program and what it was like. And then we'll open the floor for some questions at the end, and I'm happy to stop recording if you don't want those questions to be recorded. So we'll just get started. So first of all, I'd like to acknowledge the traditional owners of this land. We recognise that these lands have always been places of teaching and learning. We pay our respect to their elders past and present and emerging. We extend that respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders peoples today. So who we are, CISaustralia is a study abroad organisation. We just work with Australian universities to provide short-term study abroad. So that's in the form of study, like the programs we'll talk about tonight, volunteer programming, and also our virtual internship experiences. And 98% of our students participate in these programs for academic credit. So our focus is working exclusively with Australian universities, both here, and a New Zealand university, working with short-term study programs. We're the industry leader in risk management, and every single one of our sites have an on-site staff member that lives in country and is available to our students 24/7. We have extensive student counselling, so the process that you go through in terms of your pre-departure and then also when you're on site and when you return takes a lot of time and effort, and our team certainly put a lot of effort into that. And we have a real diverse range of programs, and we'll see some of those tonight. In terms of you as the student, so I've talked about the support we provided. We'll go back into a little bit more of that later, but looking at the advice that our advisors will give you in terms of course selection, insist it with your travel arrangements, extensive pre-departure process, so that's in the form of documentation as well as sessions, and connecting you with the group that you'll be traveling with to your destination. When you arrive on site, you will have an orientation with our CIS staff member on site that will go through all of the things that you would need to know in terms of living in that country for those couple of weeks. And those staff members that provide that orientation to you, as I mentioned, are available to you for 24-hour, 7 days a week emergency support. There is funding available to participate in these programs. They are in the form, mostly in the form of OS Help Loan. So if you're unaware of that, you can find full information. But the short of it is that if you are an Australian student enrolled in an Australian university and you have completed at least 1 year full-time study equivalent and you have at least one semester left within your degree, then you are eligible to apply for an OS Help Loan. So this loan is just taken off your HECS debt, and you will repay it back later, but it's depending on the location, it can be anywhere between $7,000 and $9,000 OS Help Loan. Some universities also have what they call university mobility grants. So if you are interested in participating in a program, it's worth speaking to your international office to see if they have any of those grants available for you. So jumping into our programs now, this is an overview of our January study programs that we have on offer. So there's 6 locations. We have a team member that will work with all of you on those 6 options. Her name is Lauren, and she basically will walk you from start to finish in terms of applying, working with you to gain credit for the subjects, working to enroll you in your host university, into the university overseas, organising your accommodation, your travel arrangements, providing support in terms of OS Help Loans. So our team will be there to support you every step of the way. The only thing that she can't do for you is physically arrange credit to be granted by your university. That is something that she can provide advice on, but that will be determined by your faculty or your college to sign off on to say that the credit is applicable. So 6 locations we have: Maastricht, London, Vancouver Island, Florence, Tokyo, and Auckland. As you can see there, they do range in terms of the duration. So depending on whether you're on a trimester or whether you're on a just the semester program, will depend on what you can fit in there. Also, you can see there by the academic area, the location is quite weighted by an academic focus. So for example, you'll see when we go through, Florence is very focused on arts because it is at the Florence University of Arts University, whereas someone like Maastricht has a very heavy psychology and government and business focus. And then when you jump to Tokyo, you're looking at a very Japanese focused program when you're looking at Japanese language and anime and pop culture. So a very wide variety of destinations all over the world. So jumping into the first one, Vancouver Island, there is one course on offer at Vancouver. It's a forensic psychology course. It has some fantastic field trips included in the program, and I do believe that Emily will have a chat to us at the end about her time in Vancouver. It does have a minimum, sorry, that's meant to be a minimum of GPA of 4.0. Now these subjects these GPAs can be flexible in some scenarios. So if you do fall below the minimum of 4.0, but you're really keen to participate in this program, it is something that we can request some flexibility on if we have the right supporting documentation, and our team will walk you through that process if that's something you're interested in. The campus has some great on-campus facilities, and there is during this time, there's lots of Victoria University students on campus. The team there have a wonderful inclusive team on campus. So when we say inclusive, we mean support for disabilities. If you have if you need just some assistance when you're over there with mental health and just general well-being on campus, they're amazing. They're probably one of the best locations in terms of providing that inclusive support for you. The program also includes a day trip to Mount Washington, which will, at that time of the year, will be for snow tubing. The accommodation on this program is a homestay. Each of the families have been well vetted. We get fantastic feedback from all of our students. The location and the families are super friendly and welcoming. And by staying with the homestay family, it really does give you a chance to live like a local and experience some of the local side. Obviously, the location in itself is amazing. It's just over the water from Vancouver. It takes a couple of hours and you can be on the ski fields just outside of Vancouver there. So it gives you some fantastic opportunities for pre and post travel with that program there. You can see the program dates, and our application deadline for this program is the 3rd of November. The next location is London. So there are 3 courses on offer in London, once again with the same GPA of 4.0. Once again, they do have a small margin of flexibility if you do fall below the GPA minimum. The courses are very unique. They are part classroom and part out in the city. This is one of the only locations where you won't spend the whole time in the classroom, in the sense that they do try to conduct a good portion of the classrooms out and about. So you're getting that exponential learning rather than just being in the classroom. So it is a unique selling point for London. The other thing to consider with this program is that you do the 2.5 or 2 weeks on campus in London. At the conclusion of that, the program has finished. So you either return home or continue traveling, but you do need to consider that there is 1 week of online content to be conducted between the 22nd and the 26th of January 2024, that's meant to say. So that is sitting behind a computer. It's not face-to-face, but there is content that you need to keep in mind that it will be concluding. This program, all students who participate in our London program have one excursion included, conducted by our site director. Often that's to one of the museums or one of the other highlights for that program. The university has, once again, this university also has a fantastic inclusive team on campus. So those students who have disabilities or require some learning support, the team is there to support you. Another unique selling point for London is that every student has their own single room. Quite often on some of our other programs, single rooms either aren't an option, or it's first and best dressed, or they're so limited it's just not an option. And this program also includes a meal card. So when you're looking through the inclusions on our program page, you will see there that it gives you approximately 30 meals across a few different locations on and around campus. And this London, the accommodation we use on campus for this program is super flexible with the room, so you can check in and check out is not so strict as whereas other locations where they've got students coming and going quite regularly, they can be very strict on your check-in, check-out process. So the program dates are listed there, and the application deadline is the 27th of October. Moving on to Maastricht in the Netherlands, there'll be 3 courses on offer here, and we are pretty sure that at least 2 of the 3 are already filled, ready to run. So it's very exciting. The one thing to consider with Maastricht is that it's a very academic focused program. It has a minimum GPA of 4.5, and it is very rarely flexible with the GPA on this program. Quite a number of students that have been in master's programs have had these courses approved by the university for credit, just due to the complexity and to the in-depth way in which these courses are taught. They also have a very problem-focused learning style of teaching, and you can Google that if you'd like some more information about problem-focused learning. It includes 1 field trip per course that's embedded within the subject. This location has our highest rank site directors, our CIS site directors, in terms of all of the student feedback that they're getting. The accommodation will be approximately 15 to 20 minutes walk from the campus, and we do have options here for singles or doubles. So the singles, believe you have a single room, but you share a common kitchen with other students on the floor, whereas the double room you'll be sharing with someone, but you have your own kitchen included in the apartment that you're in. And these courses, all 3 courses, will have both our the on campus will be both American and Australian students on campus. Maastricht is a student town. There's plenty of students on campus. It's very busy. It's also, I think there's 2 universities in town. So even when you're not on campus and you're out and about in the city, there's lots of young people around and lots of hip bars and restaurants to hang out in. It's a great location to travel. It's a couple of hours from very large amount of destinations throughout Europe. So very, very easily accessible for pre and post travel, and even just for the weekend if you happen to have some spare time. We do have an early bird discount for this program. We have $1,000 off the program fee, and this ends on the 31st of August. The program dates are listed there, the 3rd to the 20th of January, and the application deadline is the 31st of October. 4th, I think we're up to 4th program, Tokyo, Japan. There is 1 session in Tokyo, and there is 3 courses, GPA minimum of 4.0, but they are quite flexible. This is an extremely Japanese focused program. They have amazing excursions included within the program for each of the programs, and you will find that if you are very, very interested in Japanese culture, language, you will love, because every other student is just the same. I've lost my train of thought. Our courses will have both. So with this particular program, we have our Australian CIS Australia, but we also have some of our sister company American students that will be joining this program as well. So each course will be made up of Australian and American students. The Japanese campus students on Oberlin University are extremely welcoming. The accommodation is hotel style, so it's very basic, and it doesn't have any kitchen facilities, but it's located in the area where there's plenty of places to eat, and it's very affordable to eat out in Tokyo. It's located in the Tokyo city centre. The program fees include a transport card with 1,500 yen preloaded on it, so it's ready to go hit the ground when you arrive. It's an extremely budget-friendly program due to the cost of the program. Also eating out, and also the cost of flights from Australia is quite reasonable given the cost of flights to Europe at this point in time. And because it is located in Asia, Asia. And if you take one of the language programs offered on this program, you can have an increased amount. I think it's an extra 1,500-ish on top of the set amount for the OS Help Loan. So it's just a little bit extra to help you participate in this program for the OS Help Loan. Program dates there, and the application deadline for this Japanese program will be the 10th of November. Fifth program, we've got Auckland, New Zealand. So extensive variety of courses. There is no minimum numbers on any of these courses. So I believe there's between 10 and 15 different course options available in Auckland. They have minimum GPA of 4.0. Once again, they can be quite flexible. There is a very varied degree of academic options. So I think that first slide there highlighted there's business, science, education, arts. It's quite broad, where some of those other programs, course offerings are quite niche and have a specific focus. You can add a second course option. So you can do one course over the period of the 6 weeks, as the dates indicate there. Or you can add a second course into the mix for only additional $1,000. So it is a pretty good option to be able to be studying 2 programs and be getting 2 course credits as opposed to 1 for the duration of the 6 weeks. The University of Auckland has a very extensive summer program. So for Auckland, it is summer. And there's a very large amount of international students on their campus during that time. They're located in the city centre. Like London, Auckland offers all the rooms are single rooms, and it has all meals included at a variety of locations across campus. And Auckland, given the location, its close proximity to Australia and I guess the familiar surroundings, it's a great location for first-time travellers if you've never been overseas before, but you're really keen to participate in a study abroad program. And lucky last, we've got Florence, Italy. So as I mentioned earlier, Florence, the university in Florence is the Florence University of Arts. So given that it is an arts university, it has a very heavy arts focus in terms of its subject selection, or course selection, I should say. There are 13 courses on offer. Minimum GPA of 4.0, once again, can be quite flexible. Florence, the accommodation for our programs in Florence is an apartment style, so it can be up to 10 to 15 to 20 students sharing multiple apartments blocks, and they don't often have single rooms available. So if single rooms is your only way of traveling, then Florence is probably not going to be the ideal location for you. The program fee includes some meal tickets to use at multiple locations throughout Florence. If you know anything about Florence, you'll know that it's a fantastic location within Rome. It's a couple of hours, fantastic location in Italy. It's only a couple of hours from Rome or Venice, and then a little bit further afield if you were going to do a weekend trip somewhere else. It has, once again, like Auckland, a very large, for them it's winter, so it'll be a shorter winter study break, but a very large international contingent on campus. The feedback we get from students is this is the most social program offerings that we have within our suite of programs. Most students come back and say they've made an endless amount of friends. It's very social, lots of socializing with each other, both on campus and within Florence itself. The campus and the accommodation are not together. The apartments are separate from the campus, but Florence is a very walkable city. Everything is very close together. The program dates there are the 3rd to the 20th of January. Application deadline for Florence also is the 31st of October. So that rounds out the 6 programs we have on offer for January. The first thing we always recommend we do, and you do, and it's the first question we always ask when we speak to students, is that you have reviewed the program website. So everything you need to know about any of those programs is all listed on our website. It's quite detailed in all the different segments. If you do have any questions or you can't seem to find the answer, obviously give us a call or send through an inquiry, and we'd be more than happy to get back to you with those. The application deadline, as you can see there, is listed for each program, and it's on each of the individual program website. But we do say leaving it to the application deadline is not going to give you a stress-free experience. There's lots of preparation to be done in terms of getting course credit, supplying the appropriate documentation, and then getting you enrolled in the university overseas. So we do recommend now is the time to apply if you're looking to travel in January, between 3 to 4 months. And then our team will work through to secure your program, and obviously you undertake the program. So that's our study programs. We do have a very small number of volunteer programs. So study programs is where you're going to an international university overseas and you're doing a compacted subject within 2 to 3 weeks of the program. And typically, your Australian university will give you one course here in Australia equivalent to what you study over there. That's generally how it works. And our volunteer programs, you can still obtain credit for participating in these programs, but it's typically the credit is awarded to an elective subject that you have within your course. So our volunteer programs are purely, as it says here, getting your hands dirty. So you are actively working with an organisation in one of our overseas locations and in a variety of different areas. So we have about 15 volunteer programs on our website, and you're welcome to go and have a look if this is what you are interested in. But we are already almost at capacity for our summer intake, but we do have 4 programs left with availability. So I thought I would just mention them here if anyone is interested. We have 4 locations: Cambodia for a teaching and community development program, South Africa out of Port Elizabeth is our Big 5 wildlife management and conservation program. In Thailand, we have our rural community healthcare program, and in Peru, out of Costco, we have our rainforest environmental conservation program. So we have CISaustralia, we have, from our perspective, there is no prerequisite for any of these programs. You don't have to be studying teaching or wildlife conservation or community or healthcare or environmental conservation to participate in these programs. To receive credit, though, you would need to be getting these programs approved by your university to obtain the credit. But as you can see there, we have some limited places available for these particular programs. Full details are on our website. We have so many amazing videos that students have made, actually for both our study and our volunteer programs. They're on our website. They're also on our YouTube, and they're extensively through our Instagram and Facebook pages. So if that's something that you are interested in terms of a volunteer program, they are all working with certified and legitimate NGOs, particularly when you're looking at the rainforest environmental conservation or the wildlife management and conservation. They are working with real life data that does contribute back to a greater cause. And a teaching program in Cambodia is working with a rural school that's desperate need of assistance and in both the teaching space and the community development side. And the healthcare program up in north of Chiang Mai in Thailand is quite a broad healthcare. So it will give you a good understanding of some of the challenges living in a rural community. Happy to answer any questions if you have anything regarding these. But now I would really love to stop talking and hand it over to Emily. Emily is a University of Melbourne student, and she is joining us here today to give us a bit of insight into her program that she did in January on Vancouver Island. So thank you, Emily. Have I got that right? It was January this year, Vancouver Island.
Yeah.
Yep, beautiful. So, Emily, I would love if you could just give us a short insight as to why you chose the Vancouver Island program.
Well, I've been to Canada before and I really liked it, and I wanted to go somewhere cold, preferably if it was going to snow. That'd be fun. And also just looking, because I really like psychology, and then I thought forensic psychology would be really interesting. So those together, I was like, Vancouver sounds good.
And what are you studying at uni?
I'm doing a Bachelor of Science, majoring in physiology. So
Close.
yes.
And tell us about what a standard day looked like on your program.
Yeah, so Tuesday to Friday was our study days. So usually I'd have breakfast at home. I'd either take the bus or get driven to uni. And then so our day was split into three blocks of probably about 3.5 hours. Depending on the day, you would spend 3.5 hours in class, and then we had like fun excursions or activities. So we went ice skating, we went to a rehab center, or we would just have free time where we could study or explore. And then usually we would have lunch together in the cafeteria. Sometimes I'd bring a packed lunch, or VIU is really cool where they have a culinary program. So the students actually cook lunch and it's really cheap to buy. And then,
And sorry, you go.
oh no, so yeah, and then dinner was either we'd go out as a group together and we'd go maybe to the uni pub or something, or I'd go home and eat it with my host family.
Perfect. And that leads me on to my next question. Your accommodation and your homestay family?
Yeah, so my host, I had a host mum. It was this lovely lady. She was a retired lady, so she had lots of spare time. So it was her, her four rescue dogs, and she also had a student from Brazil in high school who was also there at the time. And so I had my own room, I had my own bathroom. It was a cute little house.
And how far from campus?
By car, it was 10 to 15 minutes, but by bus, it was maybe up to an hour, 50 minutes, depending on the schedule, because it's quite a quiet town. So you have to look at the bus schedule whenever they have buses.
Great. And in terms of, so obviously that was Tuesday to Friday. What about your spare time? What did you have sort of like in terms of balancing your study workload with getting out and about and seeing Vancouver Island?
Yeah. So every Saturday, the uni itself had things for lots of, because they have other international students too. So those were optional that we could choose to go to. So we went to a few of them. We all decided to go together. So we went to like other towns. And then Mondays were either free time or we had some like CIS specific excursions. So one day we went skiing at Mount Washington. I remember what the other ones were, but we had lots of different fun, random things we could choose to go to.
Awesome. And finally, what advice would you give to other students thinking about a January study program?
Definitely plan early, so getting all the credits and stuff approved because I decided really late that I wanted to do this program, so I was in such a rush trying to book flights, getting my visa sorted, and I didn't realize that even though I wasn't leaving the airport, I had to get a visa for USA because I did a stopover there. And I was just so stressed last minute. So definitely plan early. Um, Being super open-minded. So you're gonna try new food, you're gonna be with new people. You have to be like you want to do things and they want to do things. So sometimes you have to be open to trying what they want to do. Yeah. And oh, I can't think of what my last one was.
That's okay. That's awesome. Thank you, Emily. The copy of this presentation will be sent in the next day or so to the email that you registered with if you wanted to go back and have a look. But honestly, Lauren and Jackie, the team who look after these study programs, are amazing and just so full of knowledge. So if you have any questions, please just put through an inquiry or give the office a call. And also, thank you, Emily, for your time.
Thanks for that. Cheers.